everybody, and welcome to another episode of the 3D Printed Gamer. I know it's been a while since the last episode, and I've made a lot of excuses for it. And my most recent excuse has been that I've been experiencing a lot of failure. And I figured I would talk about it because you might be able to learn something from it. I know I've learned a little bit from it, and we can both explore what we learned from our failures. So this is a part from a miniature holder that was part of a Kickstarter, and I've been having a lot of trouble with this. Now initially I was trying to print them in ABS. I really enjoy printing ABS, but ABS does have its own issues. In the past, the way those issues usually represent themselves is, and you can see it there, you sometimes get splitting where the layers don't fuse properly and it comes apart. I could not get this piece to print with ABS without that happening. But when I switched to PLA, this is of course a painted part, so it doesn't look like it's 3D printed. When I did it in PLA, it was smooth and perfect. Now, which brings up something. When I want to do a piece that needs to be sort of more mechanically perfect, I will tend to use PLA, because ABS, in addition to having this weird splitting problem, sometimes like things at the bottom where it prints are a little thicker than they're supposed to be, and it's just not as mechanically sound in terms of like your measurements and stuff, whereas the PLA tends to hit your numbers pretty good. But although I was having good luck with these, when I started doing the mini holder pieces, I started getting all kinds of weird things. Like if you look there, you can see that this piece is very ugly around this area. It doesn't impede its usefulness, and you can just file that off if you want, but it did bother me that it wasn't printing out as nicely as it would. And then of course later on I was getting issues like this, and what I discovered what was happening is the spool was binding. So instead of just letting material out smoothly as it should, it would periodically grab. And let's see if I have a good example. I don't think I have the example. Oh, here it is. It would grab, and so you might get a layer that looked a little different. You can see that one layer in there that's kind of looks weirdly thick. And that's because the whole thing sort of shifted a little bit in one part. And that was because the filament had grabbed. And then I tried to let it out some in hopes that by alleviating some of the pressure of the spool sort of grabbing to itself, that it would free it up. And then I created more problems doing that. And it not only was it binding up a little bit, it started sort of grabbing completely and then just not letting go, and that's when you get issues like this. I'm not quite sure what ended up my solution to this, unfortunately, and one of the reasons why I stopped printing for a while is my solution had to be that I could only print while I was nearby, and then I would have to get up and check it every 10 to 15 minutes or so just to make sure that the spool was flowing nicely. And to be honest, I'm not sure if the fault is mine or if the fault was the spool. I've heard of this kind of stuff happening before. I think I exacerbated my problems when I tried to free the filament up on the spool. But I can't tell if the initial problem, because I printed up a bunch of these things, and when I say a bunch I mean 4. But I printed 4 of these things with no problems before I started printing the holder and started having problems. So something happened between the one and the other to create the problem. By the way, just as a note, this is a project that I've been working on slowly for a while now, and this is an arena wall, and it would take, I think it was 16 of these, and it'd be like a 2-foot diameter arena for like gladiator miniatures. If you are on Patreon, the file for this, or at least one of my early files for this, is available for download for my Patreon subscribers. And now that I'm mentioning that, I think I'm going to throw up 1 or 2 more things in the near future for those of you with 3D printers who are also on Patreon. And if you have not seen my Patreon, it's at patreon.com/Jayadan, and that'll get you there, Jayadan. There'll be a link in the description. But anyway, like, PLA has generally served me fairly well. The reason I went to ABS is that I actually like modeling with the ABS more. You can't really glue PLA with model glue, with like plastic model cement, but you can do ABS, which is really super helpful. You can also glue ABS with acetone. You can also smooth the surface of your piece with acetone, or you can do the acetone, I want to say acetone bath, but it's really, you're using the fumes in an enclosed space to do smoothing as well. And so there's a lot of things that you can do with ABS that you can't do with PLA. But on the other hand, like I said, you know, mechanically speaking, you know, if you want something that's going to screw together nicely, you generally would want to use the PLA for that, because, you know, if you're going to print these 2 pieces separately, you want them to be able to come together exactly right. And with ABS, I've found that you can't generally do that. And pieces like these sidewalls here, generally going to be kind of problematic with ABS. At least that's what I've found. If you've discovered something different, and perhaps maybe I'm doing something wrong, let me know, because that would be really cool to know. But that has just been what I've discovered. I wish I had more to show you as far as what I've been doing, because you've seen these before, and I just keep doing these because I keep needing them. But yeah, this is the latest thing that I did that I finished, and I actually need to take it over to the store. But I haven't done anything super useful for myself except for the arena walls, and those aren't useful until I get a bunch more printed, and I'm not going to print a bunch more of those until I get up the nerve to work on the PLA issue again. And I think I still have like half of that spool left, so I got to figure something out, because the idea of having to sit there for, you know, 8 hours or whatever it's going to be, checking on it periodically to make sure that it's not binding up, is not fun. It's not like you can just pause the print, sort out the issue, and then turn it back on. You kind of have to be thinking on your feet, and I've had to do that several times with that spool, so that's not fun at all. Nobody likes that. So anyway, like, being able to switch out the spool and then go back to ABS so that I can actually finish something and know that, you know, this isn't just like, oh, my printer's not working. No, that's not true. It's not the printer. It's not necessarily me. I can get stuff finished if I really need to. And so sometimes you just need to have a success so that you can make yourself feel good again and jump right back in. And that's kind of where I am now. The worst part is that I've been printing these for somebody else. These aren't even for me. And so that was part of the frustration, is like, oh, I just want to get this done so that the guy can have his stuff. And, and I feel like, well, this isn't really acceptable. Like, this is okay for me, I don't really care, but I'm doing it for somebody else. I want it to look good, which means that either I need to print it again or I need to go and clean it all up and polish it. And so, very frustrating. And the thing is like, before I got my printer, of course, you'd hear horror stories and you'd see, all kinds of examples of failures people have had with their printer. And I just never got that. I never ran into that. So when it finally happened, it was like, yeah, I don't want to be in that position. I want it to just work. That's what I want from my printer. So yeah, super frustrating, but still pushing through. I think I'm going to be okay. I think what I need to do now is maybe print another one of my walls, or maybe even just something small using the PLA, so I can get a success with that. And then once I've done that, then I can jump back in and finish this project, which turned out to be a lot more to this than I expected. This all goes together. So this is the holder, and there's different sizes of these. See, and they clip together. And then this, what's supposed to happen is that the base would fit in there, and you could tighten it down, and that's going to hold your mini in place. And then there's a handle somewhere that you can hold, or you can just have this and paint your mini. So in theory, this is super cool. In practice, well, at least in terms of printing, not so much yet. And I know that they work. I've seen pictures of other people's. They look pretty and brilliant and super cool. So it's just frustrating. In any case, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to find a little project to do, something to make me happy, and just move on. So if you have seen this and you're like, Jay, I know what your problem is, this is what you need to do, please leave a comment, because that would be awesome. If you just want to commiserate and tell me about your own issues and how you got through them, that would be good for the comments area as well. But in any case, I think that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, listening to me talking about my print failure woes, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.